Oh my goodness, Russ, here we are again for another fantastic race. We're going to bring you a little bit of plate racing here at round 3 for this Xfinity series. Russ, tonight at Daytona. So all of these racers, elite drivers, going to tackle this Daytona track. And man, I will tell you, we have had some exciting races. What a fantastic race last night in the truck series. Now we're going to bring you over here to a plate race where everybody's going to be in a big pack. Man, there's going to be some fuel strategy, a little bit of pit strategy going on. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but nice little tight battle for the championship. Only 2 races to go. Russ, I hope you brought your lunch bell because this is going to be a heck of a race tonight.
Well, I left my lunch pail at home, bud. I got a belly full of chicken wings. It's a Wednesday night Xfinity with races elite. Here at Daytona at night, baby. We're about to do some great races, some drafting, door banging, bump drafting. Man, we're gonna see these guys going 3 and 4 wide. It's gonna be an exciting night, buddy.
Well, I will tell you this, now that you said that, it's great that you have chicken wings. But however, Racers Elite has always, and we talk about this all the time, where Racers Elite always has a race going on. There's some form of a race somewhere. Normally that is a plate track, and they'll just throw some crazy cars out there. They'll put them on a plate track like here, Talladega, Michigan, and they'll just get after it. So all of these drivers with a ton of experience in plate racing, a ton of experience here at Daytona. So you are going to see some of the best get out here and get after it tonight at Daytona. But what we're going to do now, let me just drop this off because I want to show everybody where we stand in the points battle tonight. As you look at this, and we only have 11 drivers that are highlighted here, and the reason why is because we do have a tie for second place. So Andrew Teft is your points leader. Now, he only leads this thing by 10 points over 2 drivers. That's Sean Dunaway and Truth Hope. Cody Bonelli not that far behind, only 15 points behind. Kirby Wainscott, Aaron Marquis, Aaron Roth, Brandon Honeycutt. We talked about Brandon last night, Russ, missing that last week and all the races last week. Really put it behind, but Lee Campbell, Sean Merriman, and Ryan are all going to round out this chase field that we're going to bring to you tonight.
Yeah, nice close, tight battle here in the points. We've seen it, in the truck series and in the cup series. It's one of the things with the Races Elite, man. It's a competitive series, I mean, these guys battling week in, week out, and these points are tight, buddy.
So, Andrew, picking up the win last night.
Again.
Where are we going tonight? So, let me give my call-outs, Russ, because I don't want you to jump in front of me and call out the driver that you think is going to bring the win. I do know this is going to be tight. I do know they're going to have to make at least 2 pit stops. So, pit stops have to come into mind. I was talking to Truth a little bit earlier before this race started, and he was really concerned with the entry to pit road. Brandon Honeycutt, really hard to beat. I don't see, normally the 15 car out here that could give him a little bit of assistance. So he might be, but man, he is so good at plate tracks. I think I've got to go tonight with Mr. Honeycutt, that 13 car, going to find a way here at this plate race. He has won so many of them, so hard to bet against him. That's going to be my pick tonight.
It's definitely the top pick for sure, but we are here at Daytona, and these plate races, they're just about anybody's race. It comes down to that last lap, and it could be anybody. So, I mean, why not take an underdog here tonight, just for fun? I've picked a couple of winners so far this season. Let's take an underdog tonight, and we've talked about him quite a bit here and there throughout the season, and he's definitely probably one of the more improved drivers that we've seen in the latter stages of these seasons between the Truck Series and the Xfinity. I'm gonna take a big gamble here. I'm gonna take the number 8 at Curtis Secker to pick up a W here tonight at Daytona.
Well, I will tell you one thing. That's not necessarily a shocking pick, but a very interesting pick by you, because I feel like Curtis is one of those drivers, and I have talked to him a few times. He is so hungry, every single race to put this car in a position to get good finishes. Tonight's not going to be any different for him, as we're now going to back this intro music down here, Russ, because I believe we have some results here for qualifying. So let's see if we can show what we are going to bring to you tonight out here on the field. You're going to have 14 drivers that's going to take this field. Lee Campbell is going to be your pit or your front row driver here, picking up that pole position with a 51.019 truth, just 004 right behind him. He's going to start in second. Curtis Ecker is going to be in third. Your pick for tonight. Andrew Teft is going to be in fourth. Aaron Roth in fifth. Kirby Wainscott's going to be in sixth. Cody Benelli in seventh. Pete Polini is going to be in eighth. Aaron Marquis in ninth, and Honeycutt there in 10th.
Top 9, only deciding to take a qualifying run here, so it'll be kind of interesting. But yeah, Sean Dunaway is going to start in P11. Cooper Redditch is going to start 12th, and Tim Wright, he's going to round out the field in 13th tonight.
Man, I will tell you, you can always pump up the excitement as you come not only to Daytona, but just get a sense of this, Russ, as we go around, and we're going to wait on some of these drivers here. I just really would like to get a sense of what this feels like to really put yourself in this seat. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring up this gentleman here, and Curtis Ecker. Let's see if we can pull him up to the booth and shock him and see where his mind is. Kurt, this is John and Russ here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Curtis, not to put a whole lot of pressure on you, my friend, but Russ has picked you as his winner for tonight. So talk me through what you think here before we get to green flag.
Oh, just kind of looking at our fuel mileage and see that we're kind of right on the numbers. So gonna have to make sure we don't get out front and burn too much fuel off.
So you've got quite a few teammates there in this. How important do you think going into this, only 2 races left in this chase, to really give your teammates, is there team orders, or is it just like, hey, we're going to work together, but the last couple of laps, it's one for we don't have any teammates, we don't have any friends, we're just running for a win?
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like that goes for anybody at the end of the race, every man for themselves, but I mean, I'm not going to go out there and screw my teammates that's racing for a championship, but...
Well, I will tell you this, my friend. We'll get you back to your teammates, but Russ has picked you to win this thing, so no added pressure, but good luck tonight, Curtis, and we hope to see you here in Victory Lane very soon.
All right, thank you.
Don't make me look good.
Well, hopefully he will do that for you, and it does look like these. So I talked to Truth, and we were kind of diving into the fuel mileage as we talk through this thing, and I believe that window is going to be about from anywhere between 25 to 29 laps. So these drivers are going to have to two-stop this, and I do think, Russ, the most important thing here, if this thing were to go green all the way through, is who is going to be my partner that I'm going to come down pit road with. You know, how am I going to work this thing? Am I going to take the low line on pit entry, the outside on pit entry? And I know that a lot of drivers really practicing how they get on and off pit road, because that is going to be so crucial. If your teammate that you're pitting with, you know, takes a second longer in the pits, you're stuck without a drafting partner, and vice versa. So it's going to be really crucial on who you pick to go down pit road with you tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's of vital importance to make sure you have a solid drafting partner coming down pit road at the same time as you. But see how they're going to do it here tonight. They're ready to take the green flag.
Lee Campbell, your pole sitter, going to come out, take that green flag as we go live here. Again, we only have 2 races to go. This will be your 3rd round of a 4-race playoff series. And we're bringing you some Daytona action. And that's really this is an interesting race to put right smack dab in the middle of your Xfinity chase. But man, I will tell you, it's going to be extremely interesting, because it looks like a lot of drivers now already starting to line up down on this low line. It looks like everybody, Russ, is going to start early finding that low line, and it looks like they're ready to settle in for a nice little 80-lap race.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a smaller field, not too bad, but we're anticipating some longer green flag runs out of these guys here tonight. So definitely need to figure out where you're going to go and just kind of settle in for the long haul. But as you spoke about it, the third race of the playoff, be Daytona. And I tell you, if I was one of these chase drivers, I would actually be kind of glad that this race was the third race out of the four, because I have seen leagues that have had Daytona as their season championship finale race. And as a driver into that championship battle, I would not want to come here in a heated battle of only a few points to decide the championship at the end of the long season.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you brought up because and we have here at Racers Elite just such a short chase period. Only 4 races. It doesn't give you a whole lot of time, so you just there's two theories of thought here. One is that that 4 race chase playoff gives you the opportunity to be extremely dominant, especially if it's 4 good tracks that you like and you enjoy and you can run well at. But the other part of that is, man, if you have one bad race, set you back, as we can see now, just even looking at what Brandon Honeycutt not being able to attend any of those races last week did to him here in these championship playoffs. So it's good in some instances and then bad in some others.
Absolutely. I mean, it really makes every race very crucial when it comes to points. These races go by quick. You want to make sure that you can get every single point that you can get. You want to lead a lap. You want to lead the most laps. You want to do whatever it's going to take to get points on the board each and every one of these 4 races. And yeah, like you said, Brandon unfortunately missing every race last week. That's going to pretty much take him out of championship contention in all 3 of these series.
Yeah, and I will tell you, plate tracks are one of those tracks as we see all of these drivers go around. It looks like everybody is being calm. You don't see a whole lot of pushing. There's not a lot of shoving. And I think that's by design here, Russ, because you get some of these, and when you go out to these plate races, it depends on what your mindset is. If you get into that car and you say, if I can get me a breakaway and I can push this driver in front of you and I can get out, that I can start to control the race. There's other drivers that think, let me just sit back. I'm going to ride. I'm not going to push. We're just going to be calm and content here until we get through that first round of pit stops, and then we're going to try to maneuver. So this, plate tracks, people think it's just go out, stand on the throttle, but it's not. There's a chess match going on right here, right now, as you can see this thing play out.
Yeah, for sure. They talk about it in real life too. During the the NASCAR races and stuff like that, when they come to these plate tracks, it's literally like a chess game at 200 miles an hour. I mean, like you said, a lot of people come out here and they think, just match that throttle to the floor and go, but it's a lot more than that. It's strategy, mind, thinking. You're always thinking. It's not just lap after lap, but literally like corner after corner. You've got to be on your toes. Tonight's distance is the 80 lap race. You got to be on your toes for 80 full laps.
Yeah, it really is, and you have to be ready. Now, all these drivers will have a fast repair, but you don't want to be one that is caught in that. Troy Thomas there in the chat saying, let's go, Truth. I do know, Troy, I talked to Truth a little bit earlier. He was really hoping you were going to be in here, finishing this season out with him, but he is doing a fantastic job there on the outside. But one of the other things that we really have not touched on is fuel mileage, and we're going to go back here to the TV view, but as we come on board with Curtis, you don't see a whole lot of pushing going on right now, Russ, but one of those things is the 60 and the 55. Those 2 drivers are leading both of those lines, the 60 on the inside, the 55 on the outside. Those 2 drivers are using a ton more fuel than the 98 and the 8, who are teammates, by the way. So really, and really with us and our teammates, we call those kind of the fuel pigs. They are the drivers that are out there, really sucking up that air, breaking that air for me. And so I'm sitting back trying to save fuel to get myself a couple laps further down this race.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it all the time. In our own races and stuff like that. You want to be like the second or third car in a line, because you're able to save more fuel. You're not having to be on that throttle all the way. You're kind of half to maybe 3/4 throttle, for an entire lap around here. So you definitely can save a lot more fuel by being that second or third car in line. And if you're out front, it's easily 2 to 3 laps less worth of fuel that you're burning, or more that you're burning up being the leader of a line.
Yeah, you have to know that that's what's happening. And Lee Campbell here, Truth Hoke here, both of these two drivers are cutting that air. They are burning that fuel up, and I am certain that they know that. But with Truth and maybe Lee, it might be a time for those two to start talking to each other and saying, "Hey, I have to come in X. I have to come in here as well." Because I am out here burning more fuel than these drivers behind me. Troy is in the chat saying he wish he was out here, but he was with his grandkids. And I can tell you, Troy, what an amazing race by that 3 car at Nashville Fairgrounds in this Xfinity series here this year. Like, what a great race by you. I really thought you had a podium wrapped up for that race. Great drive. Really able to figure that track out. Is a little bit of an odd track that we go to here at Racers Elite to bring these Xfinity cars to, but man, what a race.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that one there. He seemed like he had a lot more speed than what everybody else did at certain points. He was able to wrap the bottom really well, work that timing. Yeah, that was a great race by Troy there.
Yeah, so as we get back to this one, again, Lee Campbell, he was your pole sitter. Truth is going to stick on that high side. They're all kind of scratching and clawing. I don't see a whole lot of moving around. Really, all of these drivers that you see, Pete Polini back there in the 47, he's moving around just a little bit, but really that's just air that's shifting those drivers. Brandon Honeycutt, all of these drivers in one big pack. I believe everybody right now is just content to run, and they're going to see where they all shake out. When you see this first round of green flag pit stops, that's where I think you're going to see a lot of these drivers start to push each other, team up, hit 2 to 3 driver packs to see if they can run this down. But man, this is already clicking away, Russ. We are 11 laps into an 80-lap race already.
Yeah, these guys are just, like you said, they're content and just kind of turning laps right now and getting to that first pit stop. And the one thing we might see, and we just touched on it a little bit, is that fuel strategy. Obviously, the 60 and the 55 are probably going to have to try to get something going, because unless they can get some other guys out in front of them, they're going to have to pit probably 2 to 3 laps before anybody else in the field right now.
Yeah, that's a fantastic call out. So everybody that's out there watching, these two drivers in that 60 and 55, that was my concern just a little bit. Now, a lot of the times when you watch these plate races, you'll see even that 60 and 55, they'll almost dump down, get off of the racing surface and allow those drivers to go by so they can fall in and keep that fuel mileage similar to everybody else. But these two drivers are obviously going to have to come in before everybody else does. And this isn't by a little bit, folks. This is a couple of laps. The 60 and the 55, being able to push through that air in Daytona and Talladega for that matter, it's really, really hard on the fuel mileage on these Xfinity cars.
Absolutely.
So as we look at this, I want to go back to this gentleman that we talked to a little bit earlier in the night as we were going around. Russ, I was going around trying to get a little bit of information from these drivers, and we want to spotlight this 47 car. He's actually supposed to be the 67, but Pete Polini, I talked to him a little bit earlier. Fantastic gentleman. He has run with Racers Elite for such a long time. Pete, has cancer. And so sometimes it's a little difficult to talk to Pete. But when I asked Pete, I said, Russ, I asked him, what's the goal tonight? And Pete said, man, I've got cancer. And he said, I'm just out here to have a good time, to have fun, and just to see where everything falls. And I got to tell you, what an amazing thought process that Pete has. And, racing is in his blood. And we talked about this a little bit earlier in another race where, when you get this in your blood, what you look for is moments, moments to relax, moments to really say that iRacing or motorsports racing, a car with a cam in it, a vibrant colored car going down the street. All of those things, draw attention to me. And once it gets in you, Russ, I don't believe it can get out of you. And Pete has that in him. And these moments here for him to be able to get out on the track and race, man, this must be just have a huge smile on his face as he goes around this track.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of newer to to Races Elite, but I've heard Pete's story and everything that he's going through, and to see him out here tonight at Daytona running, with these guys again, it's so good to see. Going through. I'm sure he's going through, chemo or radiation, whatever it may be. But I know that, my family has a history of cancer, and so I know and I've seen firsthand of what those kind of treatments can really do to the human body. And we really haven't seen Pete out here a lot this season, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. The illness and from treatments or what have you. But yeah, to see him out here tonight, it's really great to see that, to see him being able to actually enjoy a night of racing with his friends here at Racers Elite.
Yeah, and as we look through, and that's one of those great things about iRacing, as Leah's going to continue to be your leader. This bottom line starting to stretch out just a little bit now. Kurt Ecker really helping Lee stay down on wrap that bottom line and push a little bit forward. But iRacing as a community, and I will tell you that is one of those things that separates iRacing from a lot of communities out there. You are seeing a league here at Racers Elite. Listen, Russ, it might be 13, it might be 14. At the beginning of the season, it's 20 plus. But all of these drivers come together, and a lot of these that you're seeing out here are drivers that we see not only tonight, but we see them on Tuesday nights, we see them on Thursday nights, and it becomes a family. And anytime somebody in your family goes through something like that, it's really touching, and you want to do the best that you can for them. And I can tell you, for all of those people that are watching, and you might not know the depth of iRacing, there are so many times that people put on events where they will donate money to cancer research or Veterans Affairs or any number of great communities that people are a part of, and they bring some drivers out. Drivers are always willing to come in, always willing to pay an entry fee, always willing to donate for a fantastic cause. And that's one of those things that you can really be proud of, saying, hey, I'm part of an iRacing team.
100%. It's there's usually two sides to iRacing. You've got those who say iRacing is super toxic and not a lot of fun, but it's racing, and just like the real life racing community, people band together for the greater good a lot of the time. And like you said, I've seen it many times where guys have put together charity races, if you will, trying to raise funds for research of certain things, or to even help fellow iRacers. I know I saw not that long ago that there was a league that they held a charity race for one of their drivers who had just suffered a devastating house fire or a garage fire, and lost his cars. Luckily he didn't lose the sim gear. He only lost the real cars, but they put together a charity event for him. And oh no, we got a big wreck here.
Well,
I'm
let's go
yammering
back and
on
take
him.
a look. Looks like Sean Dunaway is spinning through the infield. Oh, and
There's
that,
some contact I saw.
yeah, it looks like the green flag is going to stay open. Can we just rewind this thing and see what happened? Truth just getting loose is going to quarter panel Brandon Honeycutt, and unfortunately, the 01 is going to be a victim of all of this. Oh my gosh, just heavy impact to the front end. He is going to take that car all the way to the pits. I just want to back up here real quick, Russ, and then we'll get back to that. But
I think there was a little bit there that stemmed
oh,
prior.
yeah, it looks like maybe Brandon in the 13 um tried to get, it looks, oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like he tried to move up there super quick and there was just nowhere to go. Maybe a little blinking issue for the 41. Yeah, so here comes Honeycutt and just nowhere for Truth to go. That's going to put Truth in the wall. He's going to come down. The 41 is going to blink again, and that's going to clip the left or the right rear quarter panel of Honeycutt. Honeycutt into the wall now. These two are going to get together, and unfortunately, Sean is just going to be a victim of circumstance. Now, that is your second place in points. Like, Sean had a great opportunity at this championship, so that's going to be pretty bad to him. He is going to go right back, it looks like, to the let's see if we can get ourselves back live. There we go. We are now back live. My goodness, Russ, just nowhere to go for anyone really right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, the L1 there being the unlucky bystander literally had nothing to do with that and ended up taking the having the worst of that whole situation.
It seems like he's kind of had that, right? Sean has had some fantastic races throughout this season, and it does seem like, even in the truck series, just kind of a victim of bad circumstance in a few of these races.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times that we've seen that, and not even just with Sean, with other drivers having that same thing. Just a myriad of bad luck, it seems.
Yeah, and of course, not only bad luck for him, but if we go back here, one of those drivers that had to check up is going to be Kirby Wainscott in that 10 car. He is now 13 seconds and falling fast because he is not part of that first group and that initial group. So Kirby is now on the outside looking in, even with these pit stops that are going to come here, Russ. He is in serious trouble if we do not see a caution.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get out of this draft and you can get yourself lapped in a matter of no time. It's really surprising how quick, if you lose this draft, how quick you can end up going a lap down.
Yeah, and there you have it, the 33 car involved in that earlier accident, now finding himself on this outside, pushing toward the lead to start leading a few laps. So be really interesting. It's just such a tough night for Sean. And man, he has been so fast on so many tracks. To have such bad luck, you really want to see him drive really well. He had that second place finish at the fairgrounds, put himself in really good position. But, man, this is going to be a detrimental, as it looks like his worst finish is going to be 13. I don't think it's going to put him completely out, Russ, but it's going to put him so far behind the 8-ball. He's going to have to do everything right next week, and everybody's going to have to do everything wrong.
Yeah, it's never fun to be put in those types of situations, but unfortunately that happens sometimes, and he's gonna have to try to come back again next week and hope he can pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Lee Campbell still hanging strong here on the bottom line. Curtis Ecker, as he has been all race long here, on the bottom line pushing him. Now you have Cooper and Brandon on that top line. They're pushing each other pretty hard. This is starting to get a little racy. We are now going to come across the start-finish line 25 laps into an 80-lap race. Russ, I got to think within this lap, now the window is open for these drivers. Now we're going to start seeing some people start to jockey around, team up, find out what everybody's going into the pits. You've got to think that this 60 car been out here out front all race long. You've got to think, man, he has to be low on fuel.
Yeah, he's obviously probably going to be one of the first ones that we see dip out. We're going to say Truth Hope too, but he got kind of tied up in that little fiasco there, and now he's back in the field. I mean, I don't think he's still going to put him on the same lap as everybody else, but he may be able to go just a little bit longer than what he originally was going to be able to.
No, that is true. You can see him there on the inside line. I believe he is about 9th in this line, and he is able to save fuel. Now, as a lot of those drivers right behind your leader, those that are on the outside line, they can run about 3/4 throttle all the way around this track. They don't have to go wide open. That driver in front, that 60 and that 13, they are wide open. These other drivers about 3/4, and they're just measured. I believe one of the things I got to tell you, this A car, your pick for tonight, His demeanor has completely changed in these cars this year. I just really believe that Curtis has found a calm nature and a calm opportunity to drive these cars, and that has really helped him with some finishes so far this year.
Yeah, we've seen him have some really good strong runs. We see pit stops starting now. Whoa, the 41 missing pit entry there.
Yeah, that's definitely
But
going to be a 40-second hold, I would say, here on the pit road, unfortunately for him. And it did look like the 55 of Truth came down too. So Truth, I talked to him a little bit earlier. My goodness, he is so frustrated with some of those stops. As you can see, Lee Campbell, Russ slid through his box a little bit. He had to back up. That is going to put him and Truth, I think, extremely tight to each other as they come out of these pits. Now that's going to put Curtis up front, but they probably have at least 2 laps left of fuel, maybe even 3.
yeah, they could definitely stretch it a couple more laps. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see a couple guys dip down right here. Nope, guess not. Yeah, I mean, they could definitely go, like you said, 2, 3 laps further because, being second, third car in line, able to save that extra fuel. But going back to what I was saying about Curtis there, we've seen him really kind of progress through this season. And he's definitely become kind of a more consistent, patient driver, and I think that's really where his improvement has started. Is once he found that new style, if you will, he's definitely put himself in better positions. And here he is leading the Daytona again, but that's why I picked him for tonight. Daytona, it's anybody's race, and why not go with one of the more improved drivers that you've seen this year?
Yeah, it really has been impressive to see him as now he is going to duck down. He is going to hit the inside line, and here is where it's going to get extremely tight for him, Cody. And it looks like Pete Polini as now they're going to come together. Oh, it looks like the entire field decides to come down, at least the top 8. Everybody looks like they are in pretty good shape here. Yeah, it does look like everybody was able to just look at him file in here, Russ. Oh, no, it looks like the 57 of Aaron Roth has missed it. Curtis Ecker has missed it. Andrew Teft has overshot his pit.
A lot of guys overshooting their pits right now.
Oh, we got some drivers taking tires. Honeycutt not.
That's usually not. I was just going to say, that's usually not something you see here at Daytona. At Daytona, you don't have to worry about the tires as much as you do at other tracks. And normally on the green flag pit stops, it's fuel only. See some of these guys taking tires. That's kind of surprising.
That is very, very surprising. As now Honeycutt, not sliding through that box. He is not fixing any of that damage. You can see he's got a little left side damage under that 13. He is going to be out here on an island. As a matter of fact, he is 3.5 seconds. That's how much faster his pit stop was than these drivers. And they are just not connected. As you can see now, Lee Campbell, Aaron Marquis. Aaron must not have had a penalty going through the grass on pit road. This duo hooked up, and they are going to run Honeycutt down in a hurry. He is going to be out there by himself, which was 3.5 seconds. Now just 1.5 seconds as they come across the start-finish line.
Yeah, I mean, being that far out in front of the plate track is never a good thing when you've got guys, bumper to bumper here. And they're going to run him down really quick. It's just a matter of can Honeycutt get back in line quickly before losing too many spots.
Here they come like a freight train. Now the 41 is going to go to the outside. Lee Campbell is going to follow him. Truth Hoke right behind him as well. These drivers having to come in earlier. Now this might put Truth at a little bit of a disadvantage, because Honeycutt was able to slow him down with a little bit of a side draft. Andrew's going to be on the outside, Aaron Roth on the outside. Both of those drivers sliding through their pits on that first stop. They're going to have a pretty good head of steam. As now Lee Campbell settling right in behind the 41 of Aaron Marquis. And here you go. It seemed like a little bit of a dramatic pit road situation has now put all of these drivers right back into one pack.
Yeah, I mean, so many of them guys missing their pit stalls, having to put it in reverse. Normally that loses you a lot of time, but yeah, for them to all come back out, be right back into one pack together, that worked out for a lot of guys.
And I will tell you, if you are Tim Wright, just like I have been Tim Wright, Russ, you have probably been Tim Wright as well. As
Yes, sir.
you've got this throttle all the way down, and unfortunately, you are seeing this group of cars just get smaller and smaller as somehow you have missed that draft, and this pack is just going to start walking away from you now. There is nothing that Tim Wright can do right now other than watch them leave and hope maybe Kirby Wainscott is going to catch up to me before I have to pit again.
Yeah, like I said, I've been in this situation many times, and normally, once I find myself in this position, I usually start racing with one hand because my other hand is waving bye-bye to that pack.
Yeah, that is certainly happening, unfortunately, to Tim. And Tim's put on some really nice races here lately, and you hate to see him miss that pack, but I have a feeling as Andrew Teft, your points leader right now, has found his way to the front. He is going to log in that lap led, so that's really good news for him. But I believe if Tim does not see a caution soon, unfortunately, I believe that day is done for him, as we are now going to trip over 34 laps when we cross that start-finish line, and he is getting further and further and further away, now almost 2.8 seconds behind this pack.
Yeah, I mean, even if Kirby were to get to him, I mean, those two cars alone, they're not going to be able to run this pack down. So they're definitely going to hope for a caution. Maybe even they may even be able to possibly work out a different pit strategy of maybe trying to short pit just a little bit, try to get themselves out in front of this pack so that when pack comes down and they come back out, maybe they can kind of blend themselves back in while still being on the left.
Yeah, it does look like that bottom line starting to be a little bit more dominant as we go around this racetrack. Andrew was able to get a fantastic run and pick up a lap lead, but it does look like Lee Campbell starting to maneuver himself around just a little bit off of the back end of the 41. Truth Hoax sitting there in line. Cody Bonelli, they're really well connected right here, Russ. So this bottom line looks like it's charging forward, as now I say that Andrew and the other line up top starting to come back.
Yeah, I think Lee and Truth learned a little something on that first stint of being that car in front. I think they're pretty content to being the second and third car in line right now on that bottom side, and being able to save just a little bit of extra fuel, not be so far out of sequence. But that outside line, John, it's coming.
I know, and it does look like they're a little bit more connected. Andrew, just a little more solid of a line here than the 41, and that's going to allow Andrew to come down. Oh, and looks like Truth is going to get in the back of Lee, so this bottom line starting to get disconnected. Andrew able to slide down and pick up the front and the lower line here. Now the 41 is going to become the pusher instead of that driver out front. That is going to leave Aaron Roth on the outside with the 30 and the 13. Aaron getting a fantastic push from the 30. Now things are starting to get a little bit spicier.
Yeah, closing in on halfway. I mean, still a long way to go in this race, but closing in on halfway, and these guys who are in contention for a championship, they're wanting to lead a lap. Andrew got that bonus point for leading his lap, and some of these other guys, they definitely want to make sure that they get their bonus points for leading the lap too. So starting to get a little racy as we approach halfway.
I'll tell you, I feel like this 60 car is really feeling it tonight. He's put himself back up there to the top line. He wants to lead this race. He's led the majority of this race so far. Lee Campbell sliding back up to that outside, as now you can see Kirby Wainscott fixing to get gobbled up by this huge pack that's in front of him. And this is going to be a little treacherous anytime you see that lap car with such a slower pace. This is going to be dangerous, as now it looks like maybe Lee Campbell, okay, he's going to slot himself back in. I thought he might be getting steamrolled, but Kirby Wainscott's fixing to be a sitting duck.
Yeah, it's especially coming into a corner, you kind of pucker up just a little bit and hope that slower car is going to be able to hold a really good solid line. But got through there clean, and now hopefully we'll see if Kirby can latch onto the back end of this field.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if he's able to do that. We hope that he can. He should be able to. Now, just a few tenths off of the back end of Curtis Ecker. So I think he's going to be able to snag on. Yeah, he has caught back up to that draft now. So he's going to be back into this lead pack. But we talked about this driver just a little bit earlier, and Tim Wright. And Russ, what was just about 3 seconds, only a handful of laps ago, is now 16 seconds, as that really tells you what that speed difference is. And let's just break this down for everybody. Tim's last lap was a 51.38 to that lead pack of Aaron at a 48.22. So you can see just at least 3 to 3.5 seconds a lap. This driver is losing, not being in a draft.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of speed that you lose. I mean, I'm watching him right now, and he's got that pedal pressed to the floor, and he's managing 174 miles an hour. Where if you go back up towards the front of this pack here, and you take a look at Lee Campbell out in front, he's running at 187 right now. So there's 10 plus miles an hour difference between being in the draft and being out of the draft.
Yeah, it does look like Lee has really come out aggressive tonight. I love to see that from him. Love to see that nature of where he wants to put this car up front. We haven't seen that all year from him, but tonight he has jumped behind this wheel and he wants to win this race. You can just tell by the way he's moving around as now the 30 car is going to dump him. And those are one of those things, Russ, that you really have to put in the back of your mind, and you say, okay, I understand. Like, we were up here, we were running, we had a good lead. Now you're going to dump me, for that bottom line. So I'm going to keep that in mind here as we get to the end of this race.
Absolutely. We say this all the time, or at least I do. I reference Darrell Waltrip all the time at these plate races. It's all about co-opetition. And, if you're working well with somebody early on in a race and then, they dump you, absolutely. I am keeping that in the back of my mind for later in this race because you want me to, you want my draft. I don't think so, buddy.
It's such a difficult thing, too, because, as a driver, if you see a hole, especially on these draft tracks, it's not like that those pop up all the time. You really have to take it. If you see a position that you can slot in, you need to take it. And these two drivers, Honeycutt and Lee, they're staying strong on the outside, but ultimately they're going to have to get down in line. And so, this 30 car saw an opportunity. He had to take it. You don't want to be mad at him, but as the 60, you're like, man, we had this thing on the outside line, and by you dipping down, that really killed that high line. But so it's kind of a give and take. But I think Lee is going to remember that and think, man, if I'm pushing somebody to the win, if I'm getting in that position, it might not be that 30 car.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it also could have come down to, the 30 car wanting to maybe to block the run from the bottom lane, to slow that lane up a little bit. But, a lot of times, like I said, if we're running well together and we're working together and then you dump me to go be in a faster line, I'm remembering that for later in the race. Absolutely.
We are now 42 laps into this 80-lap race here at Xfinity Series with Racers Elite Network. This is round 3 at Daytona of your Xfinity Series that is here every Wednesday night, which means we have just one more race next Wednesday, and we are going to crown a champion. So as we do that, and we got just a little bit of a lull here, we are going to go on board with some of these drivers, and we're going to crank this thing up and just see what it is for some of these drivers to be stuck here in traffic and what it feels like. So, folks, we will do this, and we will be back with you here in about 45 seconds. Well, Russ, I think that really gives everyone a good sense of what it is to go around this track inside of these cars. As it looks like, as we reset this thing, Lee Campbell and Brandon Honeycutt, they're just kind of committed to that top line. Only two drivers. They're holding on really tough there. Cooper has now dropped himself down, and this 30 car is leading along with the 57 pushing him, the 98 of Andrew Teff being able to get his way in front here. Now 46 laps in, I do believe we are just probably about 10 laps away from another round of pit stops.
I think it's going to be less than that, John, but I think, I mean, we're currently, looks like, right around 17 laps in, so I would say, maybe, yeah, definitely between the next, between this 5 to 10, maybe. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to be the one that really matters. You know, if I'm some of these guys, I'm thinking, do I want to take tires? And that's what you're talking to your teammates about too. Should I take tires? Should I not take tires? Just fuel only. And really, I'm kind of in this position now where this has to be a fuel only stop. Get in, get out. Let's see if we can team up, separate ourselves from the rest of this pack, because right now, without a whole lot of moves, this pack is really just settled in, I feel like, until the end of this race.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to be on the horn, you know, with your teammates, making sure that you guys have the same strategy. You know, you don't want to just be going in and taking fuel and then having your teammates taking tires too, and then you're kind of hung out there to dry out by yourself. But yeah, I mean, we're closing in, and you know, this is going to be the money stop, you know, for sure. You gotta not slide through your pit box like we saw a lot of guys do on that first one.
Yeah, that is certainly a major downfall. Now, it doesn't look like it hurt a whole lot of drivers. Maybe right, that now looks like he is going to be close to getting caught to put himself a lap down. Kirby Wainscott is a lap down. He is tagged on to the end of this freight train of cars. So, but let's go back just a second, because now as we look at this thing and we start to project the future here, Russ, we are in the third round of this Xfinity series. We want to talk about season 7, and we're going to put that on. This thing is not going to belabor. It is going to turn around pretty quickly, about 3 to 4 weeks worth of break before we get started again. And it's not going to be very long. So we're just going to go back. Actually, it's going to be much quicker than that. It looks like the April the 16th, we're going to come back racing here in the Xfinity series. We're going to be at Auto Club. But as I'm looking at this schedule, Russ, Auto Club, Kern, Legacy Atlanta, Texas Rockingham. You know, we had a fantastic race in the trucks at Rockingham. I can't wait to see these Xfinity cars go around that track. Chicagoland, Milwaukee, which that's going to be a nice little tight track. Watkins Glen, we're going to bring a road course over here in Watkins Glen. And then we're going to be coming back to Nashville Fairgrounds to start our chase for next season.
Yeah, it looks like we're kind of a good spread of, you know, intermediate and short tracks with that added road course in there. It's definitely going to make for an interesting season next season. But yeah, only what is it? 2 weeks of no racing. Man, a lot of people. That's months.
I know it's not very long, and not just them, but you know the trucks there on Tuesdays, they're coming back the day before, and they're going to be at Talladega. But Russ, they go to Talladega, and then the trucks go to Five Flags. So could you imagine running those trucks around Five Flags Speedway? That's going to be a fantastic short track race. They are going to go to Phoenix with the open dog leg. Mid Ohio is their road course. Man, that's been great. And I will tell you, we have saw, you know, this season alone, some really interesting road courses. I mean, in the trucks, we ran Lima Land, and I haven't seen that in a whole lot of leagues, but that was a very interesting race.
Yeah, Lime Rock. You know,
Lime Rock, yeah.
You know, yeah, when they went to Lime Rock, that was very interesting. But you know, I can see why they went there. I mean, you don't see that very often, but you know, the trucks in real life race at Lime Rock this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in real life too. I mean, if Hey, if Racers Elite Truck Series at Lime Rock was any indicator, man, I'm looking forward to watching that race in real life.
Yeah, Honeycutt doing a fantastic job there on that track, and then we went to Eldora in those trucks, and we seen them out there on dirt. But these Xfinity cars go into Nashville Fairgrounds, and we have booked that thing yet again for next season. So that looks to be one of those tracks that's going to be a favorite here at Racers Elite. But that led to a lot of fantastic racing. You're going to see that again in these next-gen cars next season, as now it looks like Lee Campbell, Brandon Honeycutt starting to lose that momentum, that top line starting to die down, and it looks like Lee, we talked about this just a little bit earlier, you can't get everybody in at the same time, and it looks like Lee just kind of skipping over Honeycutt, getting himself in that position. Honeycutt now out there on his own here at this high line.
Yeah, still moving forward, using that side draft to, to try to help him stay out there. But yeah, we talked about it earlier. You gotta take those spots in line when you can get them, because these pit stops are coming. They're going to be coming quick, and you don't want to be one of them drivers stuck on that outside and not be able to get down the road.
I think that's what's happening now. They are starting to jockey for position to find themselves in a spot to get in with their teammates, stay as close as they can to their teammates, and we're going to see them fan out big time. Whoa, now you see Lee Campbell coming down pit road with the 41. This is very, very interesting here, as now these drivers are going to have to make it 25 laps. I don't think that's going to be a problem here, Russ, but only having 2 drivers down pit road, my goodness, that is not going to be beneficial to this 60 and 41.
Oh, but you also got to remember too that the 60 there, Lee Campbell, he led that pack that whole first stint, so he had to come down pit road earlier than everybody else. So probably just the reciprocation of that first stint of still having to come down just a little bit earlier than everybody else, was just being a little bit lower on fuel.
Yeah, we're going to keep a close eye on everybody, as now we're going to go through turn 4, and it does look like everybody's going to stay out on the track. So the 60 and the 41 deciding that they're going to come down pit road early, try to get themselves back out. They are right now about 38 seconds behind. The 41 able to get on and off pit road much quicker than the 60, but they're going to have to team up here regardless, as now you want to see that 41 drag the brakes just a little bit, pick up that 60 so that they can get this duo rolling and be out in front of that pack. But I just feel like they're going to be losing so much time here. That's really going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, I said if I was that 60, I'd have been on that horn telling the 41, drag your brake a little bit, come pick me up, and let's tandem this thing. Because once these guys start breaking off, we see now Honeycutt and was that Truth coming down, and Honeycutt's gonna miss that cone. He's gonna end up with a penalty, I believe.
He's got to. Missing that cone is going to give you a penalty. Brandon Honeycutt coming down, really under heavy braking, having to wiggle that car just a little bit. He has missed that cone, and not only does that hurt him, but that's going to hurt this 55 car of Truth Hogue. I know he probably come down hoping that him and Brandon are going to be able to hook up in a duo, but that is really going to hurt that 55 car. And man, this is going to shake everything up, I feel like, Russ, and we're not going to know until all of these drivers come down pit road. But I feel like if your drivers here that are on the track that you're looking at can pit together, and it looks like everybody else is going to come down, some high, some low, they are 3, they are 4 wide. Pete Bellini, it's going to, whoa, I cannot believe he missed that wreck there.
And that was crazy. But yeah, like right now, we said it just a little bit ago. These are those money stops, and you can see, Honeycutt just now pulling out of his pit box. Obviously, had to serve that penalty. Truth is long gone, stuck out there by himself right now. These were these money stops where you cannot afford to make those mistakes, and unfortunately, that 13 made a mistake coming to pit road, and it's going to hurt that 55 as well.
Yeah, it really is. And those 2 drivers now, and we're going to see where these guys are going to be able to shake out, because we want to make sure that these other drivers that come down first, let's see if we can find them. And there's Lee Campbell. Where is Lee? It doesn't look like we can find. There's Lee.
think Lee was blinking in and out a little bit there.
Yeah, he was. And it does look like Truth Hoke was able to tag on. Now, they are going to have a head full of steam coming out for these drivers that come in. So I believe these three drivers are going to be okay. Truth Hoke somehow finding a way to tack on to the back of the 60 of Lee Campbell and Aaron Marquis. So it does look like these drivers are going to be in pretty good shape, now showing fifth on the running order. But man, here we go now. 24 laps to go, Russ. Everybody's been playing nice. Everybody's working through these pit stops. We have full fuel. Now it's time to go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was definitely a great break there for Truth, being able to tag onto the back of Lee Campbell and get himself back into this little pack. So that little miscue there on pit road from Brandon didn't really hurt him as much as we had thought it was going to originally. But now,
oh my goodness, new life into Brandon Honeycutt, as it looked like Aaron Roth just coming clean across the nose of Curtis Ecker, not clear. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Yeah, and it just looks like, Russ, I'm not sure. Let's see if we can go back just a little bit. Not really sure what happened. It looked like maybe Tim got a little loose.
it may have even been a bad bump because we saw that 51 wiggle a little bit when he shot to the right. I need to go to a chase cam or something and see if maybe he didn't take a bad bump there.
Yeah, let's see if we can go on board with the 57. I'm just not sure what happened. If he had such a good run, he just didn't have a choice here. And it looks like all is okay here, and he just decides to go right through the middle. And now he's going to kind of go over to the right, and that's where he's going to get boxed in, and that damage is going to happen. Let's see if we can go on board with Curtis Ecker. As we now are going to go live. Curtis, a little low, probably trying to side draft a little bit, but it just looks like the 57 gets up and just never stops coming over there and just comes right across the front end of Kurt.
Yeah, you know, I'm riding behind on the chase cam of the of that 57. It looks like he may have gotten just a little bit loose behind that 82 there, and he was trying to correct that when he got shot up to that, or and then ended up kind of overcorrecting just a little bit. It looks like he might have gotten just a little bit loose there behind the 82.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Now, it looks like Cooper has decided to stay out. I think that's fine. As long as you can make it on fuel, you have no need to come down pit road. You don't need tires. All of that is not going to matter. This is going to give new life to not only Honeycutt, but probably Aaron Roth, who should get that lucky dog and be able to come all the way back around. But it does look like now, folks, remember, you do have a fast repair, so they're going to have to, they're going to be able to come in. Curtis Ecker, all of those drivers are going to come in, be able to get that repair completed. But we're going to see now, as we're following around with your points leader of Andrew Teff. Let's see if we can grab a hold of Andrew. We're going to pull him up here just a second into our booth. Andrew, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, so fireworks a little bit late here. Looked like everybody was playing nice right until about 24 to go. Accident happened, but leading the points here coming into this thing, what do you think it's going to take, and what's the plan here to finish this thing out?
20 laps to go here. Tires don't seem like they matter a whole bunch. I came in and got 4 just to see if they do, I guess, but kind of try to hover just around the front here. I don't normally like to lead at the end of these. I kind of feel like a sit and duck, but maybe I can hang around and just grab onto somebody's right rear coming to the line and pull it off.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish for sure. You do have a hungry driver in your teammate right back there behind you that is going to be pushing pretty hard as well. So fantastic night. I would assume, leading the points, you just want to make sure that you're in contention here at the end of this thing. How important do you really think that it is having a teammate in the chat with you, able to really communicate as you're coming down these last few laps?
Yeah, I've got some really great teammates. We're always working together. If one of us loses touch, we try our best to help out. And I've got some radio communication in my ear, so I'm trying to think about what to say here. It's kind of messing with me, but yeah, really great teammates, and you just never really know how the pieces are going to play out. So it's hard to predict what you're going to do, but I feel like if you can be in the top 4 in the last lap, you've got a pretty decent shot. Just never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we'll get you back down. I know you need to communicate with your teammate. Good luck, in these last 19 laps, sir. We hope to talk to you pretty soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so there is Andrew Teft. Not only is he your leader in points here, he is going to start 4th on the grid, and he is your owner here of Racers Elite. So we were able to cover a whole lot right there in a little bit of time. But Russ, just like he said, you try to communicate. You want to make sure that you and your teammate are going to be able to hook up, but you don't want it to hurt you, or you don't want it to hurt your teammate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with the chase and the championships going on here, I mean, you don't want to hurt your teammate, but you don't want to hurt yourself either. I mean, really, what I should have told him was that his teammate was my pick tonight. So if he could maybe just give him that little bit of a bump, wink, wink, that.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, this driver here in the 30 machine, he is going to be hungry as well. And we talked about Benelli quite a few times. I believe he was my pick at Nashville Fairgrounds. This gentleman has shown a lot of speed. So all of these drivers have a lot to fight for. And then you've got Pipolini, like right here on the bottom line in this 47 car. He's right in the middle of this race as well. Truth Hope not too far behind. Curtis Ecker, he's hungry. My goodness, this is going to be quite the show here with 20 laps to go.
And wouldn't it be quite the Cinderella story to see that 47 pick up the win here tonight?
I'll tell you, that would be certainly something else, and we would be happy to speak with him, as now Cooper Redditch is going to bring them down to the Geico restart zone, and off we go. There's not going to be a truly dramatic start. As you know, Cooper's going to try to keep that 47 extremely close and pushing. What we saw before, where we could get, a couple of distances between the back bumper and the front bumper of some of these cars, now is going to choke up to pushing and shoving each other down these straightaways as these laps start to count down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see Cody up there. Whoa, oh, Pete, hold on to it, Pete.
Hold on to it. He's going to try to merge back up. Everybody's going to shift around. Pete just probably needs to pick this draft up. Just getting loose there on the exit. Now that's going to give Cody Benelli quite the run and put Andrew Teft in a very good spot as well. You heard Andrew in that conversation. He does not want to be leading these things coming down to the end of it because you are the one that is a sitting duck. And so he now has Cody Benelli in front of him. Truth Hope, he is back to fight. Aaron Marquis, he's not done in the 41. He's going to be on the outside battling for this lead.
Yeah, as I was saying before, Pete got a little bit slideways right there. That 19 had a really good, restart there on the outside. Was able to jump up there in front and then dive down in front of Andrew right there. And yeah, Andrew said he doesn't want to be leading at the end of this thing. He might be perfectly content with just pushing Cody until coming out of turn 4, going into the trial. Well, then it's every man for himself.
Every man for himself. It does look like that the 60 car tried to come up in front. He was able to get in front of the 57, but 57 not quite clear. Had to back that bottom line up, and that's what has allowed the 41 and the 55 to dip back down. And one of those things I can tell you about some of these tracks, Russ, I don't understand. A lot of the times that third lane is the fastest, especially around Daytona. And a lot of drivers get themselves clear. They immediately shoot down to the bottom, as you saw the 41 and 55 do. Now you can see where Brandon Honeycutt taking that higher line. That's the faster line later on in these races, I believe. But everybody all too willing to jump down to the bottom.
I was just going to say, don't look now, but look who's battling for the lead right here. Oh, good old Horseshoe Honeycutt. Right there. He shot that thing up really good. Got that lucky break of a caution there. Got himself right back up in the battle here towards the end of that thing. But, yeah, we're used to really seeing that top line being the dominant line. A lot of guys go to the bottom because, it's the shorter way around this 2.5 mile oval. But a lot of times that top side carries just so much momentum that it's so hard to not be up there and running in that top lane either.
Yeah, as we come down this straightaway, you can see now two very distinct lines starting to shape this thing up. We had a little bit of a lull as everybody was playing nice, but niceties are over now. We are going to come to 15 to go. It is time to start pushing. It is time to start arguing over a couple of feet of track. Again, 15 to go. Your bottom driver here, 82 of right on the outside. Brandon Honeycutt, missing last week's races, one of your better and more dominant plate racers. He's going to be on the outside trying to find his way around, as now that outside line, Russ, looks like it's starting to pull back just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. But, it really surprises me, and I don't know how I missed this with that 82 being up front. Just talking about the 13, having that lucky horseshoe. How many laps was it ago that we saw that 82 lose the draft and almost go a lap down before pit stop? And now he's up here leading this race with 15 laps to go.
Oh, Lee Campbell's going to get the wall, and that's really going to hurt that top line. I unfortunately think that might cost Lee Campbell the draft here in this front pack, and that is certainly going to do that. Let's see if we can go back to Lee Campbell right now, and he is about 0.8 of a second behind. I believe he has lost this draft for good, and this is one of those really sick feelings that you can see here, Russ, that we talked about earlier. These drivers, you are wide open, praying you can catch that draft, but man, they're just going to get further and further away.
Yeah, there's no more sickening feeling in the world to come down to an end of a race like this, 14 to go, and just see that pack pulling away. But it looked like there for a second, maybe the 60 was able to catch on to just a little bit something. It looks like he might be reeling this pack back in, John.
He might have it. He was about 1.5 seconds behind. Now only 1 second, inside of a second. So Lee was able to grab onto that. I don't know how he was able to do it. Getting into that wall, getting shuffled all the way back, able to pick that draft back up and get himself back into this fight. I'm not sure how he was able to do that, but great driving by that 60 to get himself back up.
I was going to say, he has got a head of steam. He's going right to the outside and saying, "See ya."
Yeah, he's going to be right behind Pete. He's probably going to get up here and be able to give Pete just a little bit of a shove to get this top line moving. I'll tell you, this is where it shapes up. Cars on the inside, cars on the outside, 3, 4 rows deep, 2 by 2, 5 rows deep now, 2 by 2, as these drivers are going to start getting a little messy, a little pushy, and a little aggressive. 12 laps now to go.
I've been watching these guys, and they're kind of dancing around just a little bit. The tensions are starting to build. We're closing in on 10 laps to go, and we see a little bit of a bobble there again. That 60 car.
He is certainly threatening with losing that draft over and over again.
I did it once. Can I do it again?
Yeah. Yeah, right now as we look, he's about 0.9 of a second behind this draft, but I believe he's going to be able to pick it up. That is one thing that's different between these and the next gen. That next gen gets about 0.5 second behind, and it's over. They're going to lose the draft. These Xfinities able to get, what was Lee, about 1.5, 1.6 seconds, able to catch this draft.
And he's already right back up to the bumper of the 8 car. He lost that again by about a second, and he's already right back up in there.
41 starting to push, starting to get on the back bumper of Tim. Let's see if we go on board with him. You can see how close he is. Playing with that throttle a little bit as Tim is going to get up just a little. That's going to help this 41 get fresh air to the nose of that car. Keep that car clean and cool. Car's moving around quite a bit, as you can hear Aaron Marquis on and off the throttle. Brandon Honeycutt now with a head of steam as Aaron Roth right on the back end of this 13 machine. 10
kind of
laps
a
to go, Russ.
Pattern here. Yeah, I was going to say, kind of a seesawing pattern here. You see the bottom line get a run, and you see the top line get a run. then the bottom line gets another run, then the top line gets another run. It's just kind of seesawing back and forth right now.
Yeah, you can hear Aaron Roth on and off the throttle there. You kind of want to hear him really almost dragging the brake and keeping the throttle steady and just working that thing with the brake pedal so that he stays connected to Honeycutt. But it does look like they're able to get some really nice runs down this straightaway. And, you know, with a couple of laps to go, Honeycutt's probably going to be saying, hey, Aaron, wear that back bumper out. I can hang on to this Xfinity car. Push me. We need to get out in front of this 82.
Absolutely. Get down there to, 2 laps coming to the white flag. I want that rear bumper. I want that driver behind me. I want his nose right up with that bumper.
Tim doing a fantastic job, just like, oh, and now Andrew Teft is going to get some drivers in the wall. They are going to stay green. And oh my goodness, what a tragic change of events. That is your points leader in Andrew Teft having a big issue there. It looks like the 30 car is going to have to come down pit road. Oh, we'll probably try to go back and look at that. He is coming down with some major damage to the rear end of that car.
Looks like Pete Polini's on pit road too.
Oh my goodness, that is going to leave all of those drivers. That is going to be Pete Polini, Cooper, and Andrew Teft is going to fall out. Curtis Ecker now out of this lead draft. So that is only going to leave 2, 4, 6 cars. Those 6 cars being Tim Wright, Aaron Marquis, Brandon Honeycutt, Truth Hope, Aaron Roth, and Cody Bonelli all in this front pack. The rest of the drivers have fallen out. I didn't quite see what happened. It looked like maybe Andrew had a little help getting up into the wall and drug a couple of cars with him to the back.
Yeah, it looked like he was on the bottom. It looked like either he got a little bit of help or he got a little loose or something, kind of wiggled up, kind of made it 3 wide in the middle there, and there just wasn't quite enough room. Kind of pushed somebody right up there into the wall, and then it all went downhill from there.
7 laps to go. That is going to shake a lot of things up unless there is another caution. Those drivers now are starting to lose the draft. Curtis Ecker, Andrew Teft about 5 seconds behind this front pack. Tim Wright still your leader. Aaron Marquis is going to be slotted into second. Honeycutt still working his way with Aaron Roth on the high side. Don't forget about Truth Hoke and Cody Bonelli still in this pack trying to find a way around. Now Curtis and Andrew starting to lose a second to a half a second to a second a lap to this front pack. Man, they have lost the draft here, Russ. If this thing does not get a caution, these 6 cars are going to be vying for this win.
Yeah, absolutely. They talked about it a lot. You get one little slip up and lose that draft, and Lee Campbell also caught up in that. He had two incidents in a row where he had something happen and was able to stay just inside that draft, but this one here, just a little bit too much. Now he finds himself outside of it too.
Yeah, for that reason, that last 5 or 7 laps have been pretty tough there for Lee Campbell in that 60 machine. Now you can see Aaron Marquis starting to get aggressive. 5 laps to go, sliding up in front of Honeycutt. Honeycutt, that might be the driver that you want pushing you. Maybe not in the last turn, but certainly getting yourself ready. Now Truth Hope finds himself at the bottom in second on that line after all of the things that he's been through. Now still searching for a great win here in this Xfinity series.
Yeah, we saw him pick up the win, a couple weeks ago there in the Truck Series, and now he's looking to pick up a win here at Daytona in the Xfinity. Truth's having a great run here tonight.
Folks, now we're going to go to 4 laps to go. These are your biggest battles. Curtis Ecker and Andrew Teft, they are teamed up pushing each other down the straightaways. It is not going to do them any good unless there is a caution, as they are now 9.5 seconds back from this pack of 6 drivers. 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top. Tim Wright running that bottom. Aaron Marquis on the top side. 3 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the winner is going to come from this 6-car pack, John.
If you do not have a caution, that is certainly going to happen, and that means your pick for tonight is not in play anymore, as mine still is here in Brandon Honeycutt. He is going to be second in line there on that top side. I don't think that top line is really able to get the push that they're going to need to do something. Now the question is going to become, what is Truth Hoke and these other drivers going to do when they have only a lap or two to go?
Yeah, the big thing is staying connected. You know, the top side doesn't seem to be very well connected. You see, Brandon really getting up to the bumper of that 41 car, giving him the shot, but that 57 is a little bit off of Brandon's bumper. He's kind of not quite in line, with Brandon in that 41. So it kind of drags him back just a little bit. But whichever lane can get connected here on this white flag lap is going to be the dominating line for sure. But it all comes down to being connected on this last lap.
2 laps to go. Everybody is trying to vie for position. It looks like Cooper in that 30 car. We popped that battle box up there on the bottom right-hand corner so that you can see the plus or minus on the relative. It does look like he is going to be able to tag on to the back end, and you certainly don't want a lap driver to interfere with this 3x3, but he is going to have a head full of steam coming up here and give a 4th driver to this top line. Now, Aaron Marquis starting to sneak out just a little bit, gaining some momentum through the center of these turns, and we are quickly going to come to 1 lap to go. Underneath of the start-finish line, we are now white flag. It has Tim Wright in the 82 on the inside, the 41 of Aaron Marquis on the outside. Not a whole lot of shuffling going on now. You can see Brandon Honeycutt really tagging onto the back end of the 41, pushing him forward. The 57 super tight. They're going to get a great run down this stretch. Now it looks like the 55 of Truth Hoke starting to push this 82. Brandon making moves. Brandon might be out of fuel there, Russ, and that is going to put the 82 and the 55 kind of in the catbird seat. I'm not sure what this 41's going to do. Who is he going to follow? Truth is going to take that outside. Oh, and it looks like he's going to have a fantastic run. Truth Hoke might be able to snag this, and he is going to pick up that win. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, what a finish.
What a
finish.
Truth Hoke onto the outside. We've got to back that up just a little bit. And unfortunately, the 82 of Tim Wright getting in an accident there at the end. Looks like he got tagged pretty hard by Cody Bonelli. Let's see this move.
Looked like he was looking pretty wide there. Just judged it just a little bit.
Oh, my goodness. Truth really pulling out from the 82 just in the nick of time.
And Truth timed that move perfect. And if he would have been any later, it probably wouldn't have stuck. But
oh, my goodness gracious. Truth Hoke, way to find a win tonight. I was trying to see if I had a start-finish cam, but I do not. Truth, and it just looks like Cody's going to get underneath of the 82 and turn him. The 82 still might come across in 3rd position with Aaron Marquis in 2nd.
Looks like the 82 got 2nd by 0.6 of a second to Truth Hoke.
Oh, Aaron Marquis goodness. Wow, what a finish. Truth Hoke is going to take home your win. Tim Wright is going to be in 2nd. Aaron Marquis in 3rd. Cody Bonelli in 4th. Aaron Roth in 5th. Andrew Tepp is going to be 6th. Curtis Ecker in 7th. Honeycutt in 8th. Lee Campbell 9th. Cooper in 10th.
And, Pete, unfortunately, having that late race issue there, getting caught up in that wreck. Going to bring it home in P11 tonight. Kirby Wayne Scott, P12. Tom Dunaway, that early exit, going to bring it home in P13.
Wow, what a crazy, crazy finish. Congratulations to all these drivers. Tim Wright really in a great position, but holding his line. Nice run to the end. Truth just really being able to pull him back, get on that quarter panel, and find his way around him at the end. So great job to all of these drivers, and we're going to pop back here just a few laps, and we're going to slow this thing down and see if we can get some of these drivers here in the waiting room, as I don't see a whole lot of them in
I figured
our
Truth would have
chat.
been the first one in there.
He is going to be super excited. Aaron Marquis, one of those drivers as well, picking up a fantastic third place finish. So I do think that with this big win here with Truth and where Andrew finished, we'll have to see how these points are going to shake out here, Russ. But we are going to have an all-timer next week here in this Xfinity series for your championship. There's going to be about 3 drivers that are going to go after this championship.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely made it a little bit of a tighter battle with, Andrew getting caught up in that one little incident there, and having a 6th place finish here tonight is definitely going to tighten this points championship ship up going into Kansas next week for the finale.
All right, it looks like we do have Truth in our waiting room. So let's see if we can pull Truth Hoke up and get a little bit of a conversation with him. Actually, let's go to Aaron. Aaron is our third place finisher. Let's work our way from third up to first, and let's see if we can have a conversation with Aaron. Aaron, this is John and Russ here in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. How you guys doing?
Well, man, listen, this thing never disappoints here at Daytona. Fireworks happening there on that last lap. It looked like you had a really good race, just tried to keep that car clean. Not a whole lot of drivers out here on this track, but kind of walk me through the night. Was everybody just sitting back, being super patient, trying to really find their teammates there through the pit stops, and then running this thing out to the end?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was a lot of teammate work. I stayed with Lee, and we kind of just worked together. Unfortunately for him, he got spun out a little bit there. So basically, through the night, I just stayed near the back a little bit, and then after the last pit cycle, I started to work my way forward, and I got myself in a good position, and yeah, but just kind of hanging back, and it's all luck here, I guess.
Well, I will tell you, there's a little bit of skill in there too, because you got to come down and you got to hit those pit road entries just right. You got to exit them just right. So there is some of that as well. And look like when you come out on that last stint, you had that high side working. It didn't look like there was just enough pace on that high side all night long to really propel yourself forward. I know in the trucks and even the next gen, that high side is certainly viable, but just didn't seem like those Xfinity cars really had it on that high line tonight.
No, it didn't. I knew with like 5 laps to go that being on the inside wasn't going to do me any good, so I slot up myself in front of a honeycut there on the outside and hope that he could push me. And unfortunately for him, it looked like he blew an engine. So unfortunately, I couldn't get in front of the guy on the inside. So, but things happen, you know.
Oh, that's what happened. So we were almost thinking here in the booth he possibly ran out of fuel, but he blew an engine. That's not the first time that Brandon Honeycutt has blown an engine at a plate track. Well, listen, Aaron, fantastic job finishing third here. We got one more race for this season, and then we're going to have a short turnaround until we're going to start another season. But congratulations here on a podium finish. Very, very happy to talk to you tonight, and we'll turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, shout out to Lee with working with me. We also had Truth working with us too a little bit, and Brandon, thanks for the pushes. And sorry you had to go through all that, but no, this is great. Just want to say thank you to everybody. You guys are doing a great job in the booth. I listen, every week. I try to watch the replay. You guys do a great job. So I think that's it.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, Aaron. Congratulations again, man. Get down there and celebrate with your teammates. I know that 60 might have a little bit of a sour taste. He led a ton of laps tonight, but I'm certain that he's going to be happy for you for a 4th place or 3rd place finish, and look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Aaron. So there is your 3rd place driver there of Aaron Marquis coming home with that podium finish. Great job by him. And does look like we have Tim right now, Russell. We're going to bring him up and we'll let you handle that. It looks like Tim, this is John and Russ in the booth. You got a copy? All right. So we're going to push Tim back down to the waiting booth. It doesn't look like we had a copy for him. So let's bring your winner up here. And this man is going to be extremely happy for the win. Truth, this is John and Russ in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, maybe I should just come down and talk to you every week before we get these races started. But, man, you really were patient, waited to the end to make that move on Tim, got onto that right rear quarter panel, was able to suck right by him to pick up this win. Fantastic job. Walk me through your night, man, and walk me through that last turn.
I don't know what happened early with Brandon, but I had damage, and I didn't want to use my fast repair. And then after the last green flag pit stop, I went ahead and used it. And that wreck in front of me, I thought, oh my God. But I was just trying to stay with the pack and just I wanted to get, like I told you, I just wanted to get a good finish. And it just seemed to work out at the end there. And it was like I run with Lee and Aaron in Discord tonight. And that was the whole thing there for staying with them.
Well, it was a little concerning because I think it was maybe the second stint, Truth, where you come in to pit, and I think you come in with Brandon, and Brandon missed the cone and had to stop. And I thought, my goodness, Truth's in trouble because now you're going to come out there on your own. And it looked like you were able to tag on to the duo there with the 41. And I can't remember who was with the 41, but that really helped you. I mean, that caution tightened everything back up. But when that happened, you seen Brandon get that penalty, and you were out there by yourself. What was going through your mind there? And then what did you think when you seen that 82 coming out of 4? Did you think, man, this is the move that I'm going to make and this is the time I'm going to make it, or did it just happen?
But when I come out of the pits with Brandon, I let Brandon down. And when he missed the cone, I thought, oh no. And then when I got out of the pit, I thought, well, I'm hoping I can just get on the back of one pack, just somebody get in the back of them. And when Lee and the 60 and the 41 come by, it was like I went high so I could come back down on them, and just enough where I could just hang with them, just enough to stay in the draft. And then when I called him, it was like, oh, that saved me, thank gosh. But then when the 82 coming out of 4, it's like, should I go to the outside? Should I push him? And then when I had that good run, I said, I'm just going to the outside. And just went to the outside, and Aaron, he stuck with me, and I got to say thank you to him so much.
Yeah, he really gave you a nice little shot that put you there in the win. But I will tell you, we've talked about it all season long, not only in this series, but in the truck series and in the next gen series. You really come into your own this season. It's not surprising that you're picking up wins. I understand that everybody likes to throw that plate races are a crapshoot, but I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of skill in that. You certainly showed that tonight with that last pass there in the exit of 4. We're certainly happy to have you out here in the booth talking to you as a winner yet again this season, Truth Hoke. We're going to turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife for supporting me with this, my teammates, Troy and Jesse, but my teammates tonight, Lee Campbell and Aaron Marquis. I really want to thank them, and especially Aaron and Andrew for putting it on, and John, you and Russ for broadcasting, and I can't wait to watch it tomorrow. And just want to say thank you. And yes, you need to talk to me next week again.
Let me tell you, this is going to be a very, very tight Xfinity championship. It is all going to come down to really who's going to get the best finish next week. So I know you're going to put a lot of time in, and man, we can't wait to call it.
Yes, I'm going to practice, and yeah, I can't wait to watch this one back. But don't forget, you got to come and talk to me.
All right, I'll do that.
I'll make sure I remind him. All
right, yeah, thank you, Russ.
All right,
thank you.
Thanks, Truth. You have a great night. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much, and y'all too.
All right. So there is your winner, Truth Hoke. No happier guy out here winning races at Racers Elite than Truth Hoke, man. I got to tell you, it's always great to hear him out here running, out here racing, and man, he put on a great show. What a great pass at the end of this thing on turn 4. And Russ, to me, that really shows the growth in that 55 car, as now you've got to think, man, he is one to look out for. One race to go, and he might come out of this thing with the points lead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've said it quite a bit here towards the end of the season. Truth is really kind of coming to his own, and he's been running a lot better. He's had some mishaps earlier in the season, having one of those, what can happen will happen type of situations. But yeah, towards the end of this season here, he's really kind of come into his own and put himself up there as being a front runner each and every week, especially after picking up that win in the Truck Series there a couple weeks ago, and now he picks up the win here in the Xfinity here at Daytona. It's going to be a really tight championship battle moving into next week at the season finale at Kansas, and another exciting race here tonight. They're 3 for 3 in the Xfinity. They're 3 for 3 in the trucks. Let's see if we can make it 4 for 4 next week as we crown champions for the trucks, Xfinity, and next gens.
Man,
next week at Elite.
I could not have said it any better, Russ. And don't forget, folks out there watching, we do have another round 3 tomorrow night in the Next Gen Series. I believe they're going to go to worldwide technology with these Next Gen cars. So make sure that you tune into that, Russ. You and I will be back. We will call that Tuesday night race, and we will crown a champion. And Wednesday night, crown a champion there as well. And I do believe that not only is this one going to be tied, but that next one that Tuesday race is going to be tied as well in the trucks. And Russ, I can't wait to see you there. I know you'll be there, excited to call those races, and we'll see you then.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.